If you woke up tomorrow with millions in your bank account, how would you think, feel, and act differently than you do today? Tell me your thoughts. Wealth is not something you chase, nor is it something you earn through effort alone. It is not bestowed upon the fortunate few, while others are condemned to a life of lack. No, wealth is a state of consciousness, a living assumption held so firmly that the world has no choice but to conform to it. To become wealthy, you must first assume that you are. You must enter the state of financial freedom before a single dollar appears in your hand. This is the great secret of creation. The world outside is only a shadow cast by the convictions you hold within. You have been taught that wealth is the result of labor, of struggle, of external opportunity. But look closely. Are all those who labor wealthy? Do all who struggle find abundance? And are those with wealth always the hardest workers? No, something far deeper is at play. The rich man, whether he realizes it or not, holds an assumption of wealth so deeply ingrained in his being that money flows to him as naturally as breath. The poor man, trapped in the illusion of lack, unknowingly repels the very fortune he seeks. Now you may say, but I have worked hard. I have done everything right, yet abundance eludes me. That is because you are still assuming yourself to be one who lacks. Your external actions are meaningless if they do not arise from an inner conviction of already having what you seek. If you see yourself as poor, even wealth placed in your hands will slip through your fingers. But if you assume yourself to be rich, the world will find ways to confirm that assumption. Do not look to your current bank account to determine whether you are wealthy. That is a mere reflection of past assumptions. Instead, ask yourself, what would I feel like if I had already won millions? The key is to live in that feeling, not as a wish, not as a hope, but as a certainty. Wealth is not about numbers on a screen or the physical possessions it brings. It is the feeling of absolute financial freedom. It is the quiet confidence of knowing that all you desire is already yours. Begin now, sit quietly, and close your eyes. Imagine yourself living the life of a millionaire. See the evidence of wealth all around you. Feel the weight of abundance pressing upon you. How do you walk? How do you speak? How does the world respond to you? Do not observe yourself as if watching a distant dream. Become it. Step into the feeling fully and completely until it feels more real than your present reality. At first, the world may seem unchanged. Your senses may still show you a life of limitation. But pay no attention to the old reflections of past thoughts. Persist in the new assumption. If you remain faithful to this inner wealth, it will harden into fact. It must, for the world is nothing but a mirror, obediently reflecting back to you what you believe to be true. Doubt is the only thing that can stand between you and the millions that are already yours. The moment you question, the moment you look for proof, you step back into the state of lack. You must be unwavering, even when logic argues against you. The mind, conditioned by the world, will say, this is foolishness. Wealth is built through action, not imagination. But all action springs from assumption. The one who assumes himself rich will act as a rich man acts. He will speak as a rich man speaks. He will radiate the confidence of wealth. And the world will recognize that signal and respond accordingly. This is not theory, it is law. Everything you now possess, every circumstance in your life, is the outpicturing of a state of consciousness you have previously assumed. The great mistake is believing that your thoughts and feelings are powerless, that they are mere fleeting emotions with no consequence, but they are the architects of your reality. Hold to the assumption of wealth, and the structure of your life must rearrange itself to accommodate that truth. So I ask you, can you assume right now that you are already in possession of millions? Can you claim it, not as a wish, not as something that may happen one day, but as an unshakable reality? This is the only requirement. If you can hold this assumption, if you can persist in this state without wavering, then wealth must come to you for it has no other choice. This is the power of assumption in wealth creation. It is not about waiting for opportunity, nor about taking endless action in a desperate attempt to acquire riches. It is about knowing that you are already wealthy, acting from that knowing, and allowing the world to make it so. You must learn to live in the end, to walk through life as though your wish has already been fulfilled. The world you experience is not solid, not fixed, not independent of your mind. It is fluid, shaped entirely by the state of consciousness in which you dwell. If you would see wealth in your world, you must first assume it within. The greatest secret of creation is this: assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and persist in that state until it becomes your reality. Ask yourself now, if you had already won millions, how would you think, feel, and act? Would you still entertain thoughts of struggle? Would you still speak of lack? Or would you move with quiet confidence, knowing that your financial freedom is already secured? The difference between the wealthy and the poor is not money, it is assumption. The one who knows he is rich, even before the world confirms it, will soon see his assumption made visible. The one who assumes himself to be in lack, despite any temporary gain, will inevitably return to a state of struggle. Your assumption is the only reality. You must train yourself to think from the end, not of it. There is a great distinction between the two. To think of wealth is to place it at a distance, to see it as something separate from you. But to think from wealth is to embody it, to know it as already yours. The moment you begin to live in the end, wealth must find its way to you. The world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match your state of being. Look around you now. What do you see? Does your world reflect abundance or limitation? Whatever it is, know that it is only a reflection of your inner state. If you want to change the outer world, you must first change the assumption you hold within. Begin now to live as the one who already possesses millions. Let every thought, every word, every action come from the knowing that you are financially free. When you wake in the morning, do not return to the thoughts of yesterday. Step into the day as the wealthy being you already are. Feel the security, the ease, the limitless possibility that comes with knowing you are abundant. Walk through the world not as one who hopes for wealth, but as one who has already received it. When you speak, let your words be those of a person who has achieved financial freedom. You must become the thing you seek. Doubt may come, for the senses will attempt to deceive you. They will show you an empty bank account, unpaid bills, a life that seems unchanged. But you must remember, these are only the echoes of past assumptions. If you persist in the new state, the world must shift to reflect it. Circumstances are not permanent. They are mere shadows cast by the light of your consciousness. At night, as you drift into sleep, feel the satisfaction of already possessing millions. Let the feeling of financial freedom wash over you, as real as anything you have ever known. Hear the voices of those congratulating you on your success. Feel the texture of the life you desire. If you can fall asleep in the assumption that you are already wealthy, then you are planting the seed for a future that must unfold in your favor. Many will ask, but how will it happen? That is not your concern. You are not responsible for the bridge of incidents that will lead you to your fortune. Your only task is to assume the end and persist in that assumption. The how will take care of itself. The opportunities, the people, the events necessary to bring your assumption into physical form will arise naturally, without your effort. Look back upon your life and you will see that everything you have ever experienced has been shaped by what you assume to be true. This is the law of life. What you believe in your inner world must be reflected in your outer world. If you have struggled with finances, it is only because you have unconsciously assumed yourself to be in lack, but now you have the key. You no longer need to wait, to hope, to wish. You need only to assume and persist. Live as though you have already won millions. Think from wealth, speak from wealth, act from wealth. Hold to this state as if it were the most natural thing in the world, and soon it will be. The world will mold itself to fit your assumption, for it has no choice but to reflect back to you the reality you have claimed within. The key to unlocking the wealth you desire is not found in effort, nor in struggle, nor in waiting for external conditions to align in your favor. The great secret, the eternal truth that governs all creation, is this: feeling is the secret. Whatever you desire in this world, be it wealth, success, or financial freedom, must first be felt as true within before it can materialize without. It is not enough to simply think of riches. You must feel the reality of already possessing them. Your emotions are the language through which the unseen world responds. Consider for a moment the power of feeling. Have you ever had a dream so vivid, so real, that upon waking you carried its emotions with you into the day? In those moments, the dream was not separate from reality, it was reality. You experienced joy, fear, excitement, not as an observer, but as a participant. And when you awoke, those feelings lingered, shaping your thoughts and actions, even if the dream itself was no longer visible. So it is with the wealth you seek. It must first be real within you before it can be real outside of you. You do not attract money by wishing for it. You attract it by assuming the feeling of already being rich. If you persist in that feeling, the world must reshape itself to reflect your state of being. The laws of creation do not fail. They are as certain as the rising of the sun. If you feel rich, you must become rich. To those who question this, look at your own life. Every circumstance, every event you have encountered is the direct result of a feeling you once accepted as true. The one who constantly feels lack, who worries over money, who fears not having enough, unknowingly keeps himself bound to the very state he wishes to escape. He may work harder, search for opportunities, chase success, but if his inner world remains filled with lack, his outer world must reflect the same. Now imagine instead that you allow yourself to truly feel what it is to be financially free, not as a passing thought, not as a distant wish, but as a deep and abiding certainty. What would change within you? How would you move through the world? Would you carry yourself with confidence? Would you walk into any room knowing that abundance is yours? Would you release fear, knowing that money flows to you effortlessly? If you can capture this feeling, if you can claim it as your own, then the transformation has already begun. The world may tell you otherwise, your senses may contradict you, they may show you empty bank accounts, unpaid bills, financial hardship, but do not be deceived. What you see now is nothing more than the shadow of past assumptions. If you wish to change your future, you must no longer react to the evidence of the past. Instead, you must persist in the new feeling, the feeling of already having what you seek. This is why mere repetition of words without feeling is powerless. You cannot say, "I am rich," while secretly feeling poor and expect change. The subconscious mind does not respond to empty words, it responds to the emotions behind them. If you speak of wealth but feel the weight of lack, it is lack that will continue to manifest. But if you can generate within yourself the genuine sensation of financial freedom, the external world will have no choice but to conform to that assumption. The fastest way to cultivate this feeling is to engage the senses. Close your eyes and step into the life of the millionaire you already are. What do you see around you? Perhaps it is the home you have always desired, the places you have longed to travel, the experiences you have dreamed of. What do you hear? Is it the sound of celebration, of congratulations, of the world acknowledging your success? What do you feel? Is it the security, the ease, the profound knowing that all financial worries have vanished? This feeling must become second nature to you. Let it saturate your being. Carry it with you in every moment, in every interaction, in every decision. When you wake in the morning, feel the excitement of living as a financially free individual. When you make purchases, do so with the ease of one who knows there is always more. When you speak of money, do so with gratitude and confidence, never again reinforcing the belief in struggle or limitation. At night, as you lay in bed, let this feeling be the last thing you embrace before sleep takes you. Drift into slumber in the full conviction that you are already wealthy. Fall asleep in the assumption that your millions are secured, that abundance is your natural state. If you do this, your subconscious mind will work tirelessly to bring your assumption into reality. The world will move in ways you cannot predict, leading you effortlessly to the fulfillment of your desire. This is not a matter of chance. It is law. The feeling of wealth precedes its physical expression. The only question is, will you claim it? Will you dare to assume the feeling of financial success even before the world confirms it? If you can hold this feeling within you and refuse to waver, then nothing can stop the wealth that is already on its way to you. You are not limited by circumstance. You are not bound by the conditions of the world. The wealth you seek does not exist outside of you, waiting for the right opportunity, the right connection, or the right timing. Your financial reality is shaped solely by your imagination. What you persistently imagine as true will become the life you experience. There is no power greater than the mind's ability to create, and the world around you is nothing more than a reflection of the images you have impressed upon your subconscious. Look at your life as it is today. Every financial condition, every opportunity or lack thereof is simply the outpicturing of what you have imagined, whether consciously or unconsciously. You may say, but I never imagined hardship, I never wished for struggle, and yet if you have entertained thoughts of lack, if you have worried over money, if you have feared not having enough, then you have unknowingly been imagining your current state into being. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what you desire and what you fear. It only knows the feeling you impress upon it. If you wish to change your financial world, you must first change the images you hold in your imagination. Stop seeing yourself as one who struggles, as one who is bound by limitation. Begin now to craft a new image of yourself, one of boundless wealth, limitless success, and complete financial freedom. Do not wait for the outer world to confirm this change. Assume it now and persist in this assumption until it hardens into fact. If you truly understood the power of your imagination, you would never again worry about money. You would never again ask how or when wealth will come. You would simply assume the state of already having it, knowing that the unseen forces of creation are working ceaselessly to bring your assumption to life. The moment you imagine yourself as a millionaire, not as a distant dream, but as a present reality, the world must begin to shift in accordance with that belief. Begin now. Close your eyes and step into the life of financial freedom. See the world as a wealthy person sees it. Walk into your favorite store and imagine purchasing anything you desire, knowing that money is no longer a concern. Feel the ease, the confidence, the joy of abundance. Imagine your loved ones celebrating with you, acknowledging your success, speaking of your prosperity as though it is the most natural thing in the world. Hold on to this vision and do not waver, no matter what the outer world appears to be. The greatest mistake is believing that imagination is mere fantasy. It is not. Imagination is the very foundation of reality. Everything you now see, everything you now own, every experience you have had, first existed in thought before it took shape in the physical world. The car you drive, the home you live in, the clothes you wear, all were once ideas, brought into existence by those who dared to believe in their vision. If you wish to experience wealth, you must first see yourself as wealthy in your imagination. This is not daydreaming. This is not idle wishing. This is the disciplined practice of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled and living from that state with unwavering certainty. The imagination is the blueprint of your future. You must build within your mind the life you desire and refuse to entertain any image that contradicts it. Many will say, But is it really so simple? Can imagining wealth truly bring it into my life? And to this, the answer is yes. But it is not enough to imagine for a moment and then return to doubt. The world you experience is shaped by the thoughts and feelings you persist in, not the fleeting wishes you entertain momentarily. If you will only hold to the image of wealth, if you will see yourself as already possessing millions and refuse to accept anything less, then the world must eventually conform to your assumption. Do not concern yourself with how it will happen. That is not your responsibility. The ways and means will appear naturally, effortlessly, in ways you could never have planned. You will find yourself in the right place at the right time. Unexpected opportunities will arise. The world will move in accordance with your assumption because the outer world is only a reflection of your inner state. There is no limit to what you can imagine, and therefore there is no limit to what you can achieve. The only limitation is the one you place upon yourself. Dare to see yourself as already wealthy. Dare to believe that your imagination holds the key to all you desire. If you can persist in this vision, if you can refuse to accept any reality other than the one you have created in your mind, then wealth must come. It has no other choice. Nothing is more powerful than persistence. The difference between those who experience the wealth they desire and those who remain bound to limitation is not luck, nor external circumstances, nor any force outside of themselves. It is the ability to persist, to hold unwaveringly to the assumption of already being wealthy, despite all appearances to the contrary. The world as you see it now is nothing more than the reflection of past thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. If you desire to change it, you must learn to persist in a new state until it solidifies into reality. Most people waver. They allow their senses to dictate their beliefs. They may momentarily assume the state of wealth, feel the joy of financial freedom, and entertain the thought of abundance. But when confronted with the so-called facts of the physical world, an empty bank account, unpaid bills, a job that does not meet their desires, they surrender to doubt. They revert back to the state of lack. And by doing so, they reaffirm the very conditions they wish to escape. You must not be like them. You must learn the art of persistence. When a sculptor begins his work, he does not expect the stone to take shape in an instant. He chisels away, stroke by stroke, trusting the vision he holds within. The form exists in his mind long before it is visible to the world. So it is with wealth. You must persist in the assumption of financial abundance even before there is any visible evidence to support it. The world cannot resist the force of sustained belief. What you persist in imagining as true must eventually become your reality. You may wonder, how long must I persist? The answer is simple. Until your assumption hardens into fact, you do not question whether the sun will rise after a long night. You do not doubt that the seed you plant in the soil will grow in time. You simply trust the process. Your assumption is the seed, and persistence is the water that nourishes it. If you persist in the belief that you are already wealthy without allowing doubt to uproot the seed, then the physical manifestation of your assumption is inevitable. Every great achievement, every success story, every fortune ever made began first as an assumption held with unwavering conviction. The world is filled with those who had nothing but a belief in their own wealth, a belief they refused to abandon despite all evidence to the contrary. They persisted in the feeling of financial freedom, and soon the world conspired to bring them the wealth they had already accepted within. If they could do it, why not you? Are you any less capable of persisting in your own vision? You may say, but my circumstances seem so real. How can I ignore them? And yet, the very circumstances you now experience were once nothing more than thoughts and feelings you persisted in. If you have ever struggled financially, it is because you once accepted the state of struggle as real. You may not have done so consciously, but the law is what you accept as true within yourself must be reflected in your outer world. So if you wish to see change, you must persist in a new belief, regardless of what your senses currently show you. This is not wishful thinking. This is the nature of creation. Everything you now see, your home, your possessions, the life you live, was first imagined and persisted in before it took physical form. The great minds of history, the innovators, the pioneers of wealth and success, did not allow their senses to dictate their reality. They held firm to their vision, even when the world showed them otherwise. They walked in the assumption of their wealth before a single dollar was in their hands. And because they persisted, the world had no choice but to yield to their belief. You must do the same. When doubt arises, dismiss it as you would dismiss a passing shadow. When fear whispers that wealth is out of reach, remind yourself that fear is nothing more than a habit of thought, a pattern you are no longer willing to entertain. Replace it with the certainty that you are already financially free. Feel the security, the joy, the absolute knowing that your millions are already yours. When you wake in the morning, remind yourself that you are wealthy. Walk through the day as one who possesses financial abundance. Let your thoughts, your words, and your actions flow from this assumption. Do not allow the outer world to pull you back into old patterns of lack. Persist in the new state. Hold to it with unwavering faith. At night, as you drift into sleep, reaffirm your assumption. Let the feeling of already being wealthy consume you so that it impresses itself deeply upon your subconscious mind. The more you persist in this state, the more natural it will become. Soon you will no longer have to remind yourself to feel wealthy. It will be your default state, your natural way of being. And when this happens, wealth must manifest. For the world is only ever a reflection of your inner state. There is no power in doubt. There is no benefit in wavering. You must persist until your assumption hardens into fact. The moment you refuse to accept anything less than the reality you desire, the world will move to confirm your assumption. Wealth is already yours if only you will claim it and persist in that claim.